Hello everybody and welcome to part 7 of my FTC programming tutorial videos. In this video we're going to turn the basic tank drive program that we wrote in the last video into a Mecanum drive program. So the only difference between this program and the last program we wrote is we're going to change how we set the power to the motors. So it's going to be nice and simple. Let's get into it. So everything about this program, like I said, is going to be exactly the same except for how we set power to motors. So for that reason, I'm going to comment out all of the motor code that we had before. We're going to do things differently, and all that means is that when I say commented out code, all I mean is that this code is going to sit there as plain text, so Java is not going to read it as code. It's going to skip over it. It's just going to sit there as regular old text. At this point, the code in the eyes of the compiler might as well be deleted. So for Mecanum drive, we need 3 components. We need the left stick X, the left stick Y, and the right stick X. So for Mecanum drive, the left stick is traditionally used as translation, and the right stick is traditionally used as rotation. You can obviously change that if you want to, but that's how I'm going to set it up here. So we need the left stick X component. We need the left stick Y component. And we need the right stick Y component. The right stick X component. Now that we have all 3 of those values, we need to find the max value of these 3. And what I mean by that is we need to figure out what total percentage of 1 these values are going to add up to. And the reason for that is, and you'll see this in a second, each one of these components is going to be 1/3 component of each individual drive motor. And we want to make sure we're getting the maximum power out of all of our motors. So if we're only pressing one input, we want to make sure that that's 100% of our total input. So if we go forward, we're not going at 1/3 speed because we're not using any other components. So we're going to find the max, and we're going to do this with math.max, and we're going to do this by taking the absolute value of all of these added together. And the number 1. The reason we add this 1 is because if all of these values exceed 1, we want to make sure that it just stays at 1. So now that we have this value, we are going to actually set the power to the motors. And this is going to look different for every motor, and this is where we get into the conversation a little bit about kinematics and the math that's involved here. There's a diagram on GoBuilda that I will link in this video that I find helpful, but I'm not going to go through and try to explain all of it in this video because I'm by no means an expert, and I don't think I could do that within the 5-ish minutes that this video is going to be. All right, so the left front motor is going to look something like this. It is going to be the left stick Y component plus the left stick X component plus the right stick X component. Now, I have to use a reference to remember all of these, but we're going to pretend that I'm doing this by memory. So left to back is going to be the left stick Y minus left stick X plus right stick X. The right front is going to be left stick Y minus left stick X minus right stick X, and the right back is going to be left stick Y plus left stick X minus right stick X. So as you can see, no one of these is the same. They're all slightly different. The other thing you'll notice that I forgot to do is we're not actually using the denominator here. So we're going to divide all of these by our max value. Now that we've done that, believe it or not, that is all we have to do for our Mecanum drive. Now, one potential problem that you will find with this particular set of kinematics is that sometimes you will have to reverse the gamepad stick inputs. What do I mean by that? I mean that on occasion, for instance, you may have to reverse the rotation direction, or you may have to reverse the left and right translation. And what that'll look like is you'll have to end up adding a negative in front of these gamepad values, if that's the case. I'm not saying that that will be the case, but I've definitely experienced some times with this set of kinematics that has happened to me. There is different kinematics that you can use that I might show in the future that tend to not have this problem. I'm not sure exactly why and what the reasoning for that is. I have to assume that has something to do with motor assignment not being completely correct, but that's something we can talk about in a future video. So play around with it, see if you can get it to work. Send me a message if you have any problems, or if I did something incorrectly here. All right, see you in the next one.